side is going to be the Gangplank first ban. Interesting first ban, yeah. With Gangplank definitely falling off in terms of priority. Rammus will be the next one, followed by Corki and LeBlanc out from the Unicorns.
Don't feel like we've seen a player from Unicorns really stand out on Gangplank, but clearly H2K respects it enough to just ban it away. Maybe don't want to risk it as a potential last pick coming in.
This could also be just a remnant of scrim results. Say H2K didn't scrim, obviously Unicorns have loved this week, but last week or 2 weeks ago, and they had like an extensive couple of best of fives where Vizicsacsi whipped out the Gangplank and won every single game. Or H2K just simply don't care and only need 2 bans, who knows?
Maybe, because the last one will be Kalista aimed at Steelback in the
and
AD carry role. And forget.
Yeah.
Well, he's been playing it a little bit recently, but maybe he hasn't done well.
Probably not done well enough, so they ban
problem,
it. Yeah, you don't have to risk him yelling he wants it as a first pick. You just ban it away. Smart decision here from H2K. That's why they are a smart team. First pick wise though, Poppy is open. And we have seen in the other games, it is picked very early. Otherwise, a Nidalee pick, which is open now. And
I would like it.
Jankos didn't hit a lot of spears last week, but it is still Nidalee. She's still fantastic.
That's the beauty of Nidalee. You don't actually need to hit your spears. You can actually just power farm your jungle, get an advantage, and then you can still 1v on the enemy jungler while missing spear because you're so far ahead in farm.
I think they're debating it though. Nidalee, Poppy. What do we first pick?
Nidalee.
Surely Chachi will take Poppy here for himself, and then you can always go Gragas for Loulex, and you pick this strong team fighting composition. Because the way Unicorns of Love has been playing the last few weeks, team fight, and team fight some more.
This is where, on the last patch, we could easily see like a Nautilus, a Gragas come in as a rotation. It does guarantee you at least one pushing lane in the top lane. Generally when you play against Nidalee, and a good example of this is the Rocks Tigers, that the series they played against Samsung, yeah, with Ambition, you need pushing lanes to make counter jungling work. So, and it also showed if you don't have pushing lanes, how hard it is to counter jungle, because Ambition got caught a couple of times on that Nidalee. So you need to see if Unicorns prioritize some pushing lanes in the early draft. Obviously they don't, because they picked Lissandra Thresh.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Lissandra is decent push, but a lot of mid laners will just push it straight into tower, so I definitely agree on that one. I'm also surprised with the pick itself.
The need to pick it this early.
Poppy's still there, and again, now obviously we are the new cool kids, me and Pulse, because we casted the last 2 games on 6.5, and Poppy was picked over Nautilus, over Rammus, over that kind of stuff.
I tried to pay attention to the games, but your casting kind of, you know...
It was so fantastic, you just couldn't pay attention, so you were just listening to the casting and writing down every word I said.
Yeah,
so
Malfoam is like, oh, so good.
I assume you will now repeat my opinions of Attack of the Titans and so on for this game.
I love how you said Attack of the Titans just to trigger everybody.
Oh, the Titans, yeah, no, man, it's going well.
It's all deliberate.
But I did predict the Poppy here. We like the Poppy, me and Paul.
You also said on the first rotation we're looking at a Poppy. Oh, wait, sorry.
Am I meant to be
on your side? Sorry.
No,
okay, yeah,
it should have been a Poppy. I think this first rotation from Unicorns is actually weak, honestly. I don't feel like they're taking anything away from H2K.
Yeah. They didn't take away any of the popular picks overall. And then they get just a strong draft, you know.
That's
strong
what you spend
winning,
your time on, huh?
Strong winning top laner, an AD carry that suits forgiven, and probably the strongest jungler if left untouched in the game. Generally, the Gragas matchup has been okay. Lucian has been okay into the lead, but you still need to kind of equal it out and then pull ahead.
And you gotta hit level 6 before you can deal with Nidalee at all. You need that ulti. Jhin could have been an option to have a strong 2v2 bot lane, and you would try and put pressure on the bottom side of the map with the Jhin. But it looks like we go for the AD carry that all our marksmen here in the EOLs love to play, Sivir.
Well, thank you for stalling for a good 7 seconds, so
I was waiting for it to see if it got locked in.
Sivir has been locked in. Okay, Lee also picked up in the jungle, so you're talking about the matchup versus Nidalee. Also, if Lissandra end up going mid, that's such an easy gank to make happen at level 6. You just bring the Lee Sin in, pop the ultimate in from Lissandra, target's probably dead.
Yeah, it does mean though that, say Unicorns go for a Nautilus as a last pick or flex Lissandra in the top lane, that the pushing lanes will be at their side, because Thresh Sivir will push in any Alistar Lucian lane, provided they get Q flashed on and all in at one point, which I don't think will happen. So there's one push lane already. They have the control to make the second, any of the second lanes also push, and then Jankos will have a hard time invading if Loulex can play around that.
It's gonna be Lissandra mid almost 100%. We don't really see her top lane anymore. She just can't deal with all these tanks. She can't kill them or anything. So what is he going to play mid here from Rio? Because Lissandra does have a fine laning phase into most of the things.
Azir?
We've seen this before, where again, Azir will push in the wave and like will have pressure in lane, but Lissandra outside of lane is very good at obviously forcing these engages onto him, and the big zone control she creates makes it hard for Azir to stand there and just deal consistent DPS. But it does give a pushing lane over to H2K, which Jankos can then play around and when he invades.
Yeah, that's also the Alistar locked in as the final one for H2K, making that the full composition. We're seeing more and more Azir come back into the meta, just kind of out of nowhere as well. Like, why is that happening?
I mean, if you look at the bans, it's also an indicator. Sometimes LeBlanc was banned, sometimes Scorpion. Now, like, a lot of people have put so much value on that Corki. You don't want to be on LeBlanc, so suddenly 3 mid lane champions are already banned out. You want something that can contest push, that doesn't really get pushed in because you're playing Nidalee, and suddenly Azir is a good champion. There's also the changes to his kit in fluidity. He can so easily enter the jungle too when you're invading. He can dash over all those walls, join in the fights, and the new mechanic that you can actually kind of boomerang people instead of doing the old Shurima shuffle, just make him such a versatile pick, and he really has a really high skill ceiling.
Well, final pick from Unicorns of Love. Timing it out will be Trundle going into the top lane there. So seeing more of that coming out of IM as well. Interesting that Europe has now adapted, and we'll see how this one works out that we've had the full composition.
In many ways, Unicorns are trying to copy what Elements were doing in the last game. Oh, you want to run Azir, you want to run some of these teamfight comps where we play 1-3-1 with the Trundle against the Poppy, the same matchup we saw before, and then of course Lissandra always bringing Teleport, and you force Azir to run Cleanse when you pick Lissandra. He has to go Cleanse, meaning he cannot follow you to side lanes. So Unicorns with a very good 1-3-1 setup, and of course that's Sivir to always sit in mid and just push waves, instant. I just want to see what happens with Jankos in the early game. If he's able to actually get into the jungle and find Loulex because Rio can push mid. And I also think there's a high chance we get a lane swap from H2K.
They should.
Just to avoid that, you know, Sivir, Thresh lane, and even also the Trundle.
Yeah, well, H2K, big game for them. They had that 2-0 week last week. It was very convincing, and looking for that first seed, of course, it gives them that round 1 bye, which they're really looking for coming into this one.
Definitely, and we just saw Fnatic drop a game. If H2K is doing the same, then suddenly G2 is in prime position to take first place.
Well, you've seen the compositions. Now it's time to see these playoff contenders hit the rift as the race to Rotterdam continues.
I think their overall strength is just that they have good individual players, to be honest, and good macro game on top of that.
You cannot underestimate them or you're gonna lose, but I think if we focus and we play 100%, it's an easy win.
And we are not into game. Runners.
It was a hype video for more caster talk.
The hype for Deficio.
And here we are, and I felt like Unicorns of Love there. They basically described every good team in the world, good individual players, and a good macro game. I mean, that's basically what League of Legends is about. There's nothing else. Good players, good macro game. There you go. You're the world champion.
I'm just listening to that. The H2 Corns of Love are going to win this game.
From Fnatic fans as well.
H2 Corns.
H2 what?
Fnatic
H2
fans,
Corns.
their own team couldn't win, so they jump on the H2K wagon now.
Wow. FPM. Anyways, I just got a note from our stats guy. In terms of impact on the game from a particular champion, teams that pick Nidalee on average have 1,100 gold lead at 15 minutes. So that's the most out of any champion that can really influence on game states, and that's because her play pattern is like that. You know, you just power farm your jungle, which is gold, and then you go take away more gold in the enemy jungle. All you have to do is make sure that your lanes survive. Now, once Loulex hits 6, however, on that Lee Sin, we have some really exquisite like skirmish potential, because he can show up on any lane and make that into a kill.
Yeah, I'm feeling a bit left out here because I didn't get the stat in my ear, so now Krepo gets to
You were talking.
As well.
Okay.
You're talking.
If
You're talking all the time.
Yeah, stats bias.
All
I
right.
get it.
Thank you, Spellsy.
Remember, you can jump on Twitter and use those hashtags, hashtag H2KWin and hashtag UOLWin for the team you think is going to take this one, as we do now get into game. Who's just playing with your hearts just a little as we go onto the Rift once more for a very entertaining matchup here. Definitely a big win for both of the teams. Lots on the line to try and secure the positionings and jockey into the right positions as we head into playoffs.
Unicorns of Love fighting to get number 4 in the standings against Fnatic and Origin. Of course, with Fnatic losing, if Unicorns are able to upset H2K here, it certainly looks very good for them. And you want to get either number 4 or number 5, because you do not want to play Vitality in the first quarterfinal.
Yeah, barring any upsets.
Sure.
Vitality jumps up, but yeah, under the current situation, you just don't want to play the 3rd seed, whether it's Vitality, H2K,
Yeah,
or
doesn't matter.
G2.
You don't want to play any of them.
They really don't want to face them. As for the gameplay, like touching on that point that you brought up, Deficio, the lane swap, I definitely agree. Lucian Alistar, it's going to be so hard to lane. Yes, you can go even CS for given 1 drop, but you just get pushed in over and over. It's very easy for Sivir and Thresh to control that lane, especially since they're playing Ignite as well. Vander going for the late game exhaust completely nullifies Hylissang's early Ignite.
And just Sivir, I mean, trying to deny her CS is just so hard. Like, unless you can zone off completely off the wave, give her 2 seconds, wave is gone.
Yep.
Like, ricochet, boomerang, that's it. She stays even in farm. And she might push you back, which obviously is something you can do, but not with this setup, and that's why H2K are swapping. We'll find Chachi trying to do that old top lane cheese where you sit in the bush and you try and get just the 3 melee minions of experience and then you leave. But
was it TIP that hit there like for like absolute ages in any LCS?
I think it was, yeah, I think it was.
He walked out at level 4 and was like, surprise guys, you forgot the chicken brush.
He did a recall though, instantly. He decided not to sit around.
I wanted him to. That would have been cool, but not today. Hylissang, he's just he's over here, just looking at that red buff, putting down a little bit of pressure. He doesn't know that Odoamne and Jankos coming around the corner.
He stopped them at Crux though, so he's aware. He's just trying to slow them down as much as he can.
Maybe he's a goldfish and he forgot already.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
very possible.
We have noticed that a lot in LCS and just in the history of people playing, that there is information on the map, but they choose to ignore it. So goldfish cosplay is completely possible.
They didn't ignore it, they spotted it, but then they forgot. That's the point there. Fox in the mid lane. It's just Lissandra versus Azir, so it should be going fairly even, but that's a lot of damage being put out by Ryu.
I mean, again, it's what we talk about Lissandra early on. Her Q is lower range than the soldier, so it's really hard to really do anything. You have to all in the Azir, but he has cleanse, so it's more for outside of laning phase while Lissandra will get the side lane pressure. Standard lane swap so far, not a whole lot there. Wave is coming from both teams. And now I want to see if any of them dare pushing like we saw Gamsa do in the last game. Push it down on the Poppy and then suddenly Trundle got to pick up some extra waves for himself.
It was definitely a different adaptation, but I think we're just going to see both these towers fall here as normal. And out of the jungle as well. Jankos and Loulex looking at this matchup in terms of what Lee Sin's going to be doing early game. And Loulex as well, I don't know what to make of it, because Unicorns have loved 1-3 in the last 4 games with Loulex versus the other junglers they've been throwing in over the split. So definitely been on the downwards trend, but I don't know if we can just attribute all that to Loulex.
Yeah, we obviously have no idea of who's to blame for some of these decisions that they make in a bigger picture macro-wise. What we do know is that when they had Diamond in the roster, their macro play suddenly skyrocketed. It improved drastically, so perhaps he brought a shot calling element that Loulex can't really bring himself, because in the times when he played on H2K, it was still Hylissang kind of spearheading the vision and everything, and they were very disconnected. So maybe he wasn't on the same page there, maybe he's not on the same page here in the Unicorns.
Definite possibility. So we've got the duo lane coming in from Unicorns going into the top lane, likewise from H2K. Jankos now clearing up the jungles.
We see the same setup though. The bot lane, top laner, he kills the tower and then he starts pushing in the wave. So Odoamne is now going to just go straight down and catch the wave, which is slowly pushing towards him. It's actually going to push back out because of the position of the minion wave. The blue side minions is going to join faster than the red side one once we get the next wave. The wave coming here is not the one that's coming from base from H2K. And therefore we get the 2v2 top side as well, just getting past the first few early levels. So big wave coming down from Chachi, going to be joined up, slowly pushing toward Odoamne and forcing Chachi then to give up some of the shifts later on. Yeah. For now he can't push out because he's ahead in experience. He's level 4 to level 3, he's not really afraid. Just has to respect the jungle gank.
Yep, but there's also no Loulex there to cover him if he wants to shove it all the way to tower. Now Loulex and Hylissang going into the jungle, but the Ref Spirit is there having the smite on the Merkwolf, so they know that the Unicorns invade comes out. There's still a pink ward though, and Jankos jumps into the bush. What's that? It's the pink ward. Going to be taking that one away. 30 gold in the bank. And Steelback will be back in his top lane with Hylissang. Still looking at this bot lane though, the wave is still going to hit the tower. Bit of damage there, took a tower shot. But Chachi really wants to get this into tower.
Yeah, he should be fine. Also, whenever Poppy gets a last hit, the shield gets bounced back to her if she has her passive up. It really helps with getting her ass on the tower. And then into a melee matchup too, it's very hard for Vizicsacsi to punish because he'll just eat random tower shots. We see Odoamne even boldly trying to freeze the wave here, using that, again, that passive here for that little ranged attack extension.
Jankos is here though.
Oh, spear onto Chachi, and Jankos will follow with some damage. Level 5 versus level 5. He's tanking the minions, but I mean, Chachi is just straight up dead. Just needs one more auto attack. Gets him with the takedown. That'll be the first blood over to Jankos.
And again, this is why teams, when they see the early push, they like to swap around and send the top laner down, because you know the other guy has to overextend for the wave, and he doesn't want to leave early, because then he falls behind in experience. And Jankos was actually spotted top side, then just pathed all the way down to the bottom side after his recall, pick up an easy kill.
Yeah, and Chachi, he was torn. Like, do I let my enemy top laner freeze his wave? Because I can so easily win the chunk, but obviously, when you play against somebody like Odoamne, you just have to respect that. When he's freezing, it is likely that he does that because the jungle is nearby to punish you then for trying to challenge a freeze. Maybe if Vizicsacsi should have just backed off immediately, swapped around, see if he could have get anything in the top.
Could have got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got done it.
Well, Jankos as well, he even landed a spear. You were saying earlier, Krepo, that they don't even need to land the spear to be effective, but if you land the spear, then you also get a kill, so
helps.
It does help, definitely, for sure. Forgiven, top lane, farming away. Did he go for call? No, he didn't, but Steelback did. He went for that on his first back. That's how interesting that's.
I think it will be a cold day in hell when Forgiven buys a co. Does not sound like a Forgiven build at all.
Well, he does do a lot of selfish decisions, but I don't know. What would be a selfish decision?
Loulex is level 4 on this Lee Sin to level 6 of Jankos, who also got the first blood, of course, to help him out. But like, this Lee Sin has been set so far behind in this swap here, so there's no jungle really for him to farm, because when the swap happened after the first tower died, he went to top side of the map and he invaded in. There was no camp for him to take, so he didn't really gain anything, while Jankos was just farming. He was just farming, and now he's taking away his camps. This is a proper Nidalee game where you just bully out the enemy jungler. Such a massive difference, and Lee Sin doesn't really have an impact pre-level 6.
And it also gets enabled by this kind of 2v2 phase starting, where Forgiven and Vander are past the rough point, and they can kind of tie farm. Because in lane swaps, obviously, there's just pure trading of the jungle camps and lanes, and Nidalee can't really exert that advantage. And then Lee Sin spirals forward to level 6. But having to switch up at level 4, and Jankos then power pathing, getting the gank off, and now putting behind Loulex, it's really detrimental to Unicorn's approach to the mid game.
I think that's one of the very big risks when you decide to push the bottom lane, because then you expect it to become standard lanes quicker, enabling the Nidalee to play the style she wants, where if you keep the lane swap for longer, just keep trading side lanes, over and over and over, Nidalee doesn't get any extra farm at all. So it's very big difference in how the lane swap plays out, because yes, right now Trundle is ahead in farm, but there's like 3 waves at the tower of Odoamne, so he's obviously going to catch up. So I don't 100% agree with the decision from Unicorns in pushing it out and taking that standard lane so quickly, because of the Nidalee pick, simply.
Well, Odoamne is going to be catching a lot of this wave, but he is definitely behind when it comes to Chachi in terms of farm. Picked up the Tiamat now, of course looking towards the Titanic Hydra, which is the first item, and even that first item spike is really good for Trundle. Odoamne on the other hand, of course, just going to go towards the Sunfire Cape, will be the first item. Mid lane, Ryu, probably going towards Nash's, whereas Fox will just do normal thing and go Abyssal. So we've seen some Azirs actually go for an early Abyssal versus the Nash's, or one or the other, or at least get Nag and Trunklo, because you were talking about in the last game, Deficio.
I like it though. I mean, Ryu is actually building up for both here with his choice. So he has the option to go both ways. He just wants instant power.
He just feels comfortable in the matchup.
Yeah.
He can go on the aggressive.
It's the same thing, because you play against a teleport mate who doesn't have enough damage to actually burst you 100% to 0. So you just stack as much early power, and then you just keep pushing lane. Like, you just keep pushing. That's all you do in this matchup, and you need to take that tower as it is here. You need to take that tower.
Also, Ryu's just a smart middle laner, so he can gauge the damage output from Fox. He'll goes wide, so we can continue talking here. Unless the jungler kind of intervenes, he can always escape the 1v1 when he knows it's going poorly. And because Jankos is invading and has a deep vision, they can keep perfect track here. Hang on.
Oh man, Fox going in. Emperor's Divide will bump him backwards towards his minions and equal trade.
Yeah, he's always fine. 1v1, he's always fine, because he can always cleanse out and then ulti him backwards. Unless Fox maybe did a hero flash there. Oh, Jankos getting caught though.
Hook in from Chachi over the wall on the tip of the death sentence will force the flash out.
Chachi changing it to Hylissang and poking Jankos. And oh, engage!
Flash W. Ryu will be jumping away. The slide and glide back to his tower. He'll be living for another day.
Close engage there. Flash is being traded. Jankos still around the jungle. Vander as well.
Combo onto Loulex. Jumps after a pounce, and he'll be using the ward jump, tossing that out. Throws that to the turret. And he'll be backing away. A lot of close calls in this early game.
Still an issue for Unicorns of Love that are getting pushed down in mid lane, in top lane, because again it sets up Jankos to just keep invading in. He has backup. Ooh, we are just missing. Red buff over to Loulex and potential engage.
Oh, he's level 5. There's no unbreakable will from Vander. Forgiveness there to follow up. Loulex, the damage going on to him from the corn. The spear out from Jankos. Fox rotates from the mid lane. Hylissang's there as well, trying to put some damage down. Some CC helping out his team. Vander's coming in from the backside. It doesn't quite land. And Ryu now follows up. That'll be the first kill. The second, the punish onto Unicorns of Love.
Yeah, zero hesitation on the side of H2K though. They opted out of the fight in the top side. Vander realizes his jungler is caught. He W's in, flashes, goes in for a hero exhaust just to buy more time as Odoamne comes in with a teleport too. So that's fantastic communication overall to turn that fight around.
And also again, H2K can just play so aggressive, even getting caught out slightly, because Steelback could never join. He was sitting top at his own tower. He's never going to join this fight in time. So as long as Jankos doesn't die instantly, one of the good things about Nidalee, the fact you can actually kite around and buy more time, the rest of H2K can join in.
Yeah, and the beauty of playing this aggressive invade-heavy style is that you're challenging the opponent's resources. So should a play go poorly, yes, you drop a kill, but they can never get an objective off the back of it because they're so far pushed in. Let's watch this again though. So Vander kind of gets hooked here, but not much happens. So Forgive comes in with a good calling. The spear will connect, but just keep your eyes on what Vander does after this.
And also Steelback, he keeps running into the fight and runs back from the fight. Now he wants to join in. Right now though, again, the wave is pushed so far back on top side. He's actually in the fight. He's not doing anything though with it, so I actually thought he was staying at the minion wave, but it's just them chasing Jankos, getting collapsed on, then TP coming in, no response from Chachi.
He had to cancel it.
Cancel straight away, okay, so basically like, I can't join.
Yeah, but he's like, guys, I'm TPing in.
Like,
two of
no,
you are dead.
don't.
Okay,
Yeah.
cancel. Eject, eject, eject.
I'll take the 2-minute cooldown, thank you, off my TP. So 80 seconds left on that one. Chachi is chilling out in the bot lane. Odoamne is on his way, but I think he'll go back to base, so that one will just level out in the bot lane. More taken away by Jankos as well. Just they have control over the river now, so they'll just constantly be taking away these rift scuttlers, getting some more vision, gradually pushing up into Unicorns of Love's jungle.
Yeah, whenever they feel challenged or they're at the verge of making a mistake, H2K can always fall back to their own jungle, which will be full of camps anyways. So it's so hard for Unicorns. They need to win a fight in their own jungle, then they can't even get an objective out of it. It's so hard to get out of this kind of grip that H2K has on the game, especially if they put deep vision. You become very predictable. So it's once you're at this stage where H2K is at right now, it's actually a pretty risk-free environment.
Well, Unicorns now basically have to survive until a point where they can put Lissandra in the side lane, and you can start playing with these double global. So in case H2K are invading again, you have double TP coming in, and then H2K will only have like 4 members at most, and you trap them 5v4. Problem is with Rift Hell being taken now, another big wave pushing. Chachi is setting up a trap. Who's trapping who though?
I'm not sure. We're about to find out though. Ooh.
Respect flash.
Okay. Forgiven will have that one on cooldown now, and Jankos will actually head into the jungle here.
This was something similar that Deficio was describing here, because they pushed in, they had the Trundle hiding in the brush, and then the Lissandra walked over from the mid lane. H2K knew something was up, so they checked the brush, obviously found out a Trundle was lurking there. And that's a good flank opportunity, but that's what Unicorns need to do. Wait for the push, try and go around, double flank, pincer, call it what you want, and see if they can find an answer that way.
Alright, so also looking at the junglers and just how much Jankos is taking from camp to camp, he's at 5,000 gold versus 3,700 from Loulex. There's such a big disparity because he's just taking everything from him.
We'll add in an extra tower, now soon to be more towers even. Also the fact he has a kill and 2 assists. Yeah, Jankos is super far ahead of Jankos, or of Loulex at this point, but now another tower. Again, it's using the Rift Hill. Just keep pushing in these big waves, and because Unicorns are so far back on the map, they can never really push further than the river. You get to river, you leave. You're like, alright, we're not going to take it any further. So it's very easy for H2K to pick a lane and just fast push it back into towers. Vander, is it bait or is he caught?
I don't know. Well, he's taking a lot of damage, hasn't popped Unbreakable yet. I don't think he's in kill range. He was caught, but there was good clarity there because he didn't even pop the ultimate. Yeah,
nor the exhaust, and that's the beauty of Alistar though. When you play the style where Unicorns, all they can do is really double down on single lane and try and pick a member off, having a support like Alistar that can freely walk at the front line and then just ulti out worst case, it makes the style look easy.
And you also have a Sivir, who in a game like this, when you play 1-3-1 with double TP, her ulti doesn't have the same value you normally would see, because she normally does extremely well with these big tanks, and then she engages with the tanks to speed them up, and they like get to the backline, and the enemy AD carry does like 0 damage. In this case here, she's mainly just here for wave clear. Like that's her main purpose, is just wave clearing, and you win on side lanes. But because you've been pushed so far back, setting up your 1-3-1 is very difficult.
If you do get ahead with the Sivir, yes, the ulti kind of changes from rushing into team fights into a more let's speed up the rotation from one lane to the other. Let's pick somebody off that wants to defend this tower in between these towers in the jungle. You want to pick them off. That's kind of the approach you take with the Sivir. But if you're losing lane, Sivir becomes utterly useless because any action you do is so telegraphed due to that deep vision.
And H2K, they just have such control, and they engage in the bottom lane. Chachi is going to be CC to high heaven. He really can't get out of here. I believe he just flashed towards the minions to try and clear these away, maybe try and stall them, but the front line of minions are still there, so H2K are easily going to take this one away.
And you can see how far behind Unicorns are on the play because they were making somewhat the same on top side. Odoamne said, you know what, I'm not even getting close to this tower because my team is making play on bottom side. Engage on the Trundle. Get the kill, push in further now. Recalls are coming from Unicorns a lot. Not sure if Odoamne can stop any of them.
Yeah, and this combo actually has really good siege. You know, the trample on towers, the attack speed from the Nidalee, both range just whacking away. This tower is gonna melt immediately when
16 minutes in.
not being defended. And H2K just complete control of the map. There's
Again, it's the same thing, right? Every time Unicorns takes a wave and they're like, let's go push a tower. They started their own tier 2 tower.
Yeah.
And they slowly push it out. H2K is seeing the wave the entire time going like, all right, how much time do we have? All right, we already got the wave on bottom side, push in for that, and then just too slow reaction.
Yeah, and this game is also indicative of the downward slope that the Unicorns are kind of skiing on right now. This is the most gold they've ever been down the entire split at 15 minutes. Yes, obviously it's against H2K, but the Unicorns that entered the split was so kind of ferocious, you know, 8 out of 8 first bloods or something, if I remember correctly. Diamond just being involved left, right, and center on the map, and right now they're just so passive, and they fall behind almost every game lately.
And not to only just praise H2K in-game, the pick and ban phase, as we talked about, you know, that first rotation of Thresh and Lissandra. When you already had Nidalee locked in as the first pick, and then it gave a Poppy over, Lucian for Forgiven, a lot of really strong power picks, and by taking Thresh, you don't remove anything, because there's Alistar, there's even Braum, if needed, so...
Oh, here comes an engage from the Unicorns of Love. Hylissang's there from the back lines, and this is the TP also coming out from Fox. Odoamne is going to get locked down. He goes down, but Fox goes flying. Forgiven now under attack, and that is a hook landing onto Forgiven. That will result in the kill. The death sentence was issued out there. Now, Chachi is onto Jankos. He doesn't have the CC just yet. He'll have to flash away. Respect the E coming out, but Fox will flash, come into the W. Chachi finds another kill with the Chomp coming down. 3 for 0. Good punish from Unicorns.
And this was basically the best play possible for Unicorns at this point. Just get a hard engage on top side here. Ryu was running from mid lane, but he was still pretty far away from the fight when it started. And H2K dropping the ball.
Yeah, but imagine if Ryu just didn't run to the fight. He could be at tier 2 tower pushing it down already. That's the position Unicorns find themselves in. Even if they made this play perfectly executed, Ryu could have just pushed down tier 2 and mid. Luckily for them, he did chase in though.
So it's H2K chasing here, and they're not respecting the fact that there's a Lissandra teleport. So when they're going this deep and their mid lane is at their own mid tower, this fight is very, very tricky to take. Sivir also gets popped, TP in as well from Lissandra, and suddenly it's a 4v5. This is what we mentioned, use side lanes. But then also H2K should never have been in this situation, like ever. Wait for your lanes to push, then start chasing kills. They got super greedy, and they got punished.
Yeah, and this is something we don't usually see from H2K. Very calm and collected. This seems more like a G2 type of play to me sometimes. Yeah. Really, okay, we see a fight, we take it. H2K usually more composed. They got baited in by the gold lead. Luckily for them, they were so far ahead that in the grand scheme of things, this fight may not matter as much.
Big difference though between if we take H2K and G2. If G2 had chased for those kills, Perkz had already been running from mid lane way before the fight even started. This time here, I'm not even sure if Ryu had time to move at all, so I'm not going to put any blame on him. It's on the rest of H2K for picking a fight they never should have. They got greedy for kills, basically. Probably is noting it down, and the team is going to get punished.
But this is the way that Unicorns are going to come back into the game. You said this earlier, Krepo, they have to win a fight in their jungle or somewhere in River and actually come back into the game that way. Yes, okay, maybe they haven't come back into the game completely because they did also lose the dragon, and now they're being pushed in mid lane.
They're being pushed in. Vizicsacsi has teleport available. There's no flank wards though, so that's why Fox is moving over obviously without the teleport.
Odoamne should already be back here though to take the wave. He has TP. He's recalling now. Tower being put up by Ryu, one of the best looking towers by the way ever.
Oh yeah, pretty sweet.
But Chachi can do a lot of damage to this turret.
I'm not even sure if it's dead frozen to make
that. No.
The backline of minions and the
might
rest of the team closing in here. It's Alistar, Nidalee, and Poppy following up here.
Yeah, look for the reaction in mid lane though by the Unicorns. They're putting pressure in mid, so Jankos kind of has to deflect the path and go defend. Unicorns may have overstepped their boundaries a little bit in the mid lane. Vander's looking for some aggression. Odoamne
Steelback.
TP'd.
Defensive ultimate used from Sivir, but Odoamne goes in deep. He gets locked down. He gets frozen up and taken out. Fox will eliminate him from the battlefield. Ryu, oof, the Q almost landing on him from Loulex, and they're getting a lot of chunk damage in return. Unicorns have some time to play with.
Another overly aggressive fight by H2K. Played in the open, very predictable, and honestly, fantastic job kiting by the Unicorns. They turn on Odoamne the second they can. After he uses his ultimate, he finds himself completely alone in the backline.
Just playing out the blue. I was about to say, hold on, H2K. You lost your top laner here.
Let's
they're
go.
going.
Wow, they actually are.
So they cleared out the blue trinket, so Unicorn should have an idea. At least they are around here and could have stayed. Chachi's coming toward it. It's going down
This is
so
dying.
fast. Azir is naturally tooth there, just destroying it.
It's gone. Wow, what a play from H2K.
They lost the top laner.
But you wouldn't expect them to do Baron because traditionally,
killed the blue
why
board.
would they?
you don't have a tank to do it. But Alistar ulti, even with the Alistar ulti, Vander dropped to half HP right there. So that is kind of the thing that changes, because usually they would be so chunked by that Baron overall that if anybody faced X, like a Sivir would just like one-shot
Yeah,
them.
everyone, yeah.
And like, the whole setup from H2K, they had Forgiven and Ryu just hide around the corner when the blue ward got killed, so they only saw Alistar. That was it. Engage happens here, so Odoamne coming in very far back. His team has no way of actually following this engage from him, because the TP happens from Trundle, and you have to respect that. You can't just walk by it.
Yeah, and they were looking to trade situations top laner for top laner, but the instant flash from Vizicsacsi actually makes that happen. A little overreach. Again, the reaction is mid because Trundle is seemingly getting caught top. Then they think Unicorns overstep, so H2K want to punish. But the second Sivir ulti gets used, H2K should be happy with the ultimate usage. If you then get a fight, it's only because the Unicorns allow you to.
I mean, still that Baron setup here.
Yeah.
They hide around the corner of the Baron, so the blue trinket doesn't spot anyone other than Vander. He clears out the blue trinket, and basically Unicorns is saying, well, the top lane is dead, so they're not going to do it. It's just him getting a trinket, he's walking back, or he's getting a ward and he's walking away. But because Azir is so good at taking down Barons with this Nash's build, and you probably haven't even played like, that much against Azir lately, you probably got, I mean, Unicorns got super surprised.
It's almost the inverse of kind of standing in front of the pit and faking the Baron with 4 members, really just using vision to your advantage and baiting your opponent into a scenario they don't really expect.
So what does this Baron now mean for H2K? Because they've exposed the bottom side, and now they can actually take this one down. But actually, from losing all of these fights and then starting to be able to take base structures is kind of crazy. Odoamne being dragged into the team here. That's the culling. Gonna knock him away with the keeper's verdict, but Odoamne goes down. Loulex kicks everyone into the team. Forgiven is getting chunked out. Vander into Unbreakable Will. There's the jump in by Jankos, looking to go huge here, but he can only go so far. That's the first kill, but straight up Chain CC, triple kill, Alpha, Steelback, 4-1, advances to the Unicorns.
I mean, absolute disrespect from H2K. Where was the Azir ultimate so late? You know, use it earlier. Disengage Poppy just completely overextends. They never respect any zone or semblance of engage from the Unicorns, and then of course you will die. Just need the H2K to really start respecting this more teamfight-oriented Unicorns of Love.
I mean, we can praise the early game from H2K as much as we want, the macro play, but in a lot of the games this split, when it comes to team fighting, they've been a lot weaker than the other top teams in the UOL CS, and some of it might be disrespect, some of it is not understanding, you know, how to coordinate your different abilities to defend yourself and kite back when you play Azir, when you play Alistar. So like, engage comes in, Lissandra is gonna TP in behind, so super good engage here from Unicorns of Love, and just catching out Forgiven in the back.
Yeah, they just disrespect another TP flank. Every time they start a fight so far this game, it has been ruled by some TP of sorts. Obviously, the kick here from Loulex has to be praised. A 3-man kick to really buy enough time for Dylan the Lissandra to land and turn on Forgiven. Also, Hylissang, whenever he hooks, the entire Unicorns of Love lineup is ready to commit to that target. They don't wait to see if the hook connects. Like, it's like he's calling it as he's flying. Okay, this guy is going to get hooked. They're ready to pounce on him, and they just immediately drop. Blue buff. Jankos takes his revenge. You kill my team, I take your buff.
Yeah, well, either way, Unicorns of Love have been playing exceptionally well this game, like specifically in those team fights. You're talking about the flank engages with the TPs and just generally playing it well. Like, Loulex mechanics in that last team fight hasn't even died yet this game. Kicked a tank into the team.
And he was really far behind early.
Yeah.
Like, he was
so far behind, we even called it out in terms of gold.
He was really, really far down, and then bounces back, good team fight. Same for the rest of Unicorns of Love, the entire team were behind. And now the problem for H2K is, you technically don't want to opt into more 5-on-5s where you can get flanked on, but you can't really play the 1-3-1 setup because you're against double TP. There's a window because Lissandra TP is on cooldown. Once that is up again, Unicorns of Love will control side lanes.
Also, you're looking at a very strong Sivir here. Forgiven is forced to go QSS third, Well, Steelback's looking to finish his Infinity Edge as soon as he can. You have a tanky frontliner that can usually keep Sivir busy, but because of the Trundle ultimate, Odoamne will melt a lot quicker than usual. And I think that's something that's throwing H2K a bit of a curveball here. They're not used to their frontline tank melting as quickly in the fight.
Even then, it's also just when one tank goes in, 1v5, he's obviously going to die very quickly. So when he's been able to engage in, the rest of H2K were not able to follow. And then Odoamne has just gone down in the front. He got hooked in that last fight by Hylissang. Again, got singled out, got chunked down. He's in a side lane, put Trundle in the same lane, and Odoamne won't be able to do much. We might see QSS come in for him against the Trundle ulti, but it's not going to help him in team fights. Big issues for H2K. Slightly ahead of goal. Can't really play their 1-3-1 here. Can't really use the Nidalee as they want to.
Yeah. They're kind of stuck right now. Like, thematically, like, on the map. So they need an outplay from Rio. I think that's the way to break it open, is just simply an outplay. Something where Unicorns are not used to playing against Azir. Don't see the combo coming. He can split up the fight. H2K need to single out some members of the Unicorns of love. Or just flash a hook, because if Thresh stands still, he hooks and he misses, he is useless for the next few seconds. Yes, he has box and flavor. He really relies on landing that hook, and that's why he's kind of fallen off in support priority, because he's so conditional or so dependent
on getting him range.
Getting the hook actually landing, because you overextend so far into the enemy team when you do miss.
Well, Unicorns of Love in this game definitely itemizing a lot now, as you already called. The Quicksilver Sash had to be picked up for Forgiven. It's difficult for him in team fights as well, because they're always getting pincered. Fox always just, when you click the ultimate, it's like, okay, you can dodge skill shots, but you can't dodge a point and click. And continuously they've been able to pick up the kill. Maybe now Forgiven will be able to get out of that and maybe survive for a little bit longer, but still the damage is so big just from the ultimate by itself. And the last team fight, he just got hit by a random ricochet to finish him off, and it's just like, it's so difficult to play out this game as Forgiven's position.
And you're also just going to get to the point where Lissandra just ulti herself.
Yep.
Right in front of him. And you're like, well, you can't move past me, because as soon as I'm out of my ulti, I can just snare you and Q you and you die. So,
followed up by a Zonias for another 2.5
right, exactly. Yeah. So Lucian always have that problem. In team fights, his low range will really punish him, especially when you go static shift as well. You don't get the rapid fire cannon extra range. Yeah, you get more wave clear, but it hurts him in team fights. So Forgiven is relying on these fights where it gets completely spread out almost, and he can like single out one target and doesn't get zoned completely off.
Also, these fights are very explosive. People die in like a fraction of a second or maybe 1 or 2 seconds. Azir kind of needs some time to build up the fight. Like, he needs a couple soldiers up and then do repetitive damage overall. Rio may very often not get the time, because by the time he has everything set in motion for his play, one of his team members is already dead.
The fight's already over.
Very fun though, we get to see what both teams have been doing, especially looking at the last few weeks, or for H2K the entire season. You know, the strong early game, understanding how to play the map, use your jungler advantage to put pressure, and they were really far ahead. But also Unicorns of Love, the way they've been playing games is just like team fight, team fight, team fight. And today they're showing they understand how to engage with flanks, especially from this Lissandra pick, which has been working out well for them. And Chachi now is that monster split pusher.
In addition to that though, Unicorns, their AD carry is like the complete opposite from last year. Consistently shining. Steelback has had so many good performances overall, knows how to position in team fights, and he's kind of the invisible thread that always cleans up. Complete opposite of, for me, for Vardax from last year.
Definitely. Now we get a bit of a slow moment in the game. Unicorns are just farming side lanes, and as we mentioned, H2K can't really play side lanes. They've also learned rushing 5-man straight up towards the enemy base means you get flanked. You have to constantly like clear out an area of the map with pings and sweepers to make sure there's no ward right behind you they can TP on, but that takes way too long to do, and it's so hard to set up without getting engaged on.
At this point though, H2K can repeat that Baron whenever they want, with any 4 or 3 members, so that's why we see the Unicorns opt for 3 blue trinkets. They're really scared of it, but that hurts the foundations of the remaining vision, the actual vision that lasts longer, you know, the wards that you want to put on the map. That makes it very hard to split push. With only a side stone and 1 yellow trinket, it's incredibly hard to get a safe split push going, so that's why both teams are kind of never extending too far across from the river. H2K is scared of flanks. Unicorns don't have the vision to really cement their split push with.
H2K have, in this game, been really proactive, but it's not always worked out. Specifically since like the 18-minute mark, Unicorns of Love have gotten 8 kills and only died once, because Unicorns just receive H2K coming into them, and then they just murder them because H2K overextends.
And we just see, look at the side lanes again. Push in on top side, no one's there to stop it because you can't. If you move someone there to stop it, engage happens around the mid lane. So Unicorn should have first dips on getting in towards the Baron pit. and setting up wards for themselves. They have 3 pings in the inventory. You just need also a ward in the enemy jungle near the blue buff that you can TP to. In case they want to go in and contest the Baron vision, you TP in and you take the fight. So Unicorns are definitely still looking for every opening possible to fight.
That's why I really like this triple pink ward setup that H2K have done. They're making sure that they at least can't get flanked when they do step into the Baron area. Really defensive pink wards, and then they can build on that foundation with some deeper vision. Overall though, the 4 remaining parts that are not split positions, so not Odoamne and not Vizicsacsi, they're also squishy. So one mistake can immediately mean so much for the game because everybody will just blow up.
And this pink ward area, as we talked about and Krepo just mentioned, is like, we don't want to get TP flanked. The only issue is, it only sets you up for one play, and that is actually go and fight for the Baron vision and then the Baron later. Because obviously if you start moving, let's say to Dragon, you don't have any pings. And then the TP is going to happen behind you. So entire focus for H2K is saying we need to pick up a Baron and use that to push into the enemy base. Otherwise, we are afraid of fighting and moving too far forward.
Another thing to keep track of, though, in this game is H2K has gradually been picking up dragons. Now it's just spawned, and they will be trying to contest this because then it'll be on the tipping point for Aspect.
Yeah, that's a combination of both points. That's actually where we may see the deciding point of the game because at one point H2K may get greedy for that 4th or 5th
They
dragon.
shouldn't be able to, though.
And Unicorns may just opt in for the fight. They shouldn't.
Yeah,
But it may still
like,
happen.
again, as long as you keep pushing top lane here, H2K shouldn't find an opening to just go Dragon. And as we see here, it was pushed down. Azir shows up to clear Dragon for Unicorns of Love. And yeah, it looks nice and fancy, 3 dragons. It is useful, especially the 2nd dragon now. It just gets broken so easily, and Unicorns are playing this 1-3-1 correct. And H2K only has one play with the map setup, and that's just wait for Unicorns to make a mistake, move in, rush down the Baron one more time, and then use that to try and go and close out the game. Or wait long enough for more defensive items to come in, so this burst from Lissandra drops, because Lissandra is awesome in the mid game. Late game against BT, Moore, QSS, she struggles to burst down targets and she becomes more of a zoning tool.
Yeah.
And then you have like the Sivir, who's the main damage dealer, but the Puppy will try and single her out every time.
Azir's just getting scarier and scarier on Ryu. He's sitting on 2.5 items, and case in point, ladies and gentlemen, Fox is getting absolutely bursted out. Ryu trying to get in range, instant cleanse, instant soldier, instant kill.
And can he recall? Steelback is coming though. No, Steelback will get him.
Yeah, he's dead. He is off the rift. That was a 1-for-1 mid laner's exchange, but he got the flash out from Fox. Ryu didn't even have to flash for that kill.
Well, that was one of the plays H2K were looking for. Had they been able to just instant pop the Lissandra and then back away, they could have maybe gone Baron right after, and that was the whole setup around this top side of the map. Odoamne and Chachi is not very exciting to look at.
Not at all, but the percent damage is gradually whistling Chachi down, but as soon as Chachi decides he wants to go in for a trade, throws in domain, pops the subjugate, and then he starts winning. Odoamne getting a lot of poke damage though. Jankos from the side, spear didn't land, there's the subjugate, and he is growing in size, and he is piecing out. See you guys.
Yeah, it might look like...
Oh, Baron from Baron, yeah. 2 on the bottom side.
Jankos on bottom, but Ryu is dead. TP for Lissandra in 8 seconds as well. In case a fight breaks out, it should be 5v4 for the Unicorns of Love.
Odoamne TP on the top of your screen, watch him.
Vander trying to buy time, Forgiven off to the bottom side. Odoamne looking for the flank, and they are pinching in Unicorns of Love. They already got chunked out. Fox is now coming into the fight. He finds Vander. Jankos tries to get into the fight, but not going to be successful. Loulex takes down the cow over the wall. Odoamne couldn't get into the fight.
A lot of TPs used, and Hylissang drops. Jankos hiding in the bush with the pink ward, and suddenly H2K with their Azir back alive have the pressure around the Baron, and suddenly Unicorns of Love have to now fall back. Everything was used there. Double TP used, Baron being started now. No pinks on it, so they can see everything.
A little overeager maybe on the Baron. Look at how quickly it's going down here. H2K with absolute confidence going for the Baron.
Forgiven, moving on to Chachi. He's going to respond with the damage. Loulex over the wall, comes in maybe a little too early. 50 health remaining. Jankos will pick up the kill onto Baron Nashor. Now Odoamne finds them and shoots 2 people back to their base. Odoamne, he'll be going down for the pleasure of that Baron. Jankos over the wall, looking for the assassinate onto Steelback, but he'll find him with the crit. Double kill in for Steelback.
I think the Baron attempt was a little early because if you look at what Unicorns used to start that Baron, it was double TP. That means their entire strategy of 1-3-1 was no longer viable, and H2K could actually slowly push the vision line forward and guarantee them Baron. Right now, they're losing on the Baron power play, and they're looking to lose some more towers in the mid with an ill-advised, slightly too rushed Baron.
This is 30 seconds.
game here?
Unicorns can close out this game here. You have Sivir pushing in, you have Trundle to tank the tower. Forgiven is the only man alive who can really defend.
Well, this is not a good Baron power play. Unicorns of Love pushing down the middle lane. They've got a big minion wave there. Vander, he's going to jump in, try and get some CC down. They're going right onto the tower.
Oh, forgive me,
he's out of there. And Vander, what can he do? Nothing at all. Unicorns of Love, he'll take him down. They'll take down the Nexus itself. And Unicorns of Love with the upset over H2K.
Nothing is going as expected today.
No.
Called it.
It's reverse there.
There's negative, there's
Yeah.
negative space in the air here, you know.
But like, this game showed a fantastic early game from H2K. We couldn't praise them enough. You know, the pick and ban phase from it, criticized, you know, the early rotation from Unicorns a lot, giving over Poppy, Nidalee, and everything. But then H2K also showed the main weakness of this team is team fighting, disrespectful chasing, getting TP'd on from behind multiple times.
For me, it's more that they stopped thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Like at one point, they were just not thinking straight. They just got Unicorns of Love to commit for a Baron play that they then traded 2 teleports for. At that point, the whole reason the game was stalling out was a double TP. That was now on cooldown for 4 minutes. They could simply just group up, push out, get the vision, set up a bait, potentially do the Baron. That was even a 50-50. Loulex almost stole that one.
Stole it.
If he used his Q maybe 1 or 2 seconds later, then the Baron would have been in steal range.
Yep.
And
You were supposed to just have control around the Baron because you just push them back, use the TPs. This, by the way, only the second game H2K loses where they're ahead of 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's obviously a big surprise. Also because Unicorns of Love in the last 3 weeks have been looking very, very shaky. But suddenly they're now stepping towards number 4 in the standings, and H2K might have just lost the first place to G2.
That's massive.